Welcome back to another weekly GMBN Tech show. As you can see, I'm here in the workshop as opposed to our regular set. Pretty busy in the building at the moment, but more importantly in news coming up this week, we check out some more mullet bikes, plenty more goings on in the world of mixed wheel sizes. There's some brand new park tools, which is a firm favourite for myself, some great bike cave and rewind entries for you guys, and also we have a little look at that lightest full face helmet in the world from IXS. So straight into news, we check out a bit of a prototype actually. I saw these pictures first on Jeff Stieber's Instagram page. Now Jeff Stieber is Mr. Intense to you and I. He is the man behind the brand and he still does all the crazy rapid prototyping and prototyping at their US base in Temecula in California. Now the pictures you're seeing on screen now are of what's going to be known as the M279. So I spoke to Mr. Stieber about this very back end on the bike. So the front end is the carbon bike as we've already seen on the M29 race bike, and in particular the back end is being tried out by Aaron Gwin in the hope, I think, that there might be a good chance for him at the coming World Championships at Mont Saint Anne. Now check out some of these images here. As you can see, it's a very different back end to what was originally on the bike to cater for that longer need of a 29-inch wheel. Now just from Mr. Stieber himself, Jeff told me, just to let you know what I'm looking for, I've got everything you need. Check out the links on the M279 so you can see that right here. He says, this is a project with intense factory racing, in particular working with Aaron Gwin to help translate some of his ideas that will help adapt his riding style better with the M29. They're testing this week and if all goes well, it's going to race the prototype at the Worlds next week. I think this is super exciting that even at this stage when they've got arguably one of the better World Cup downhill racing bikes available with the big 29-inch wheels, they're still trying options for different riders. Of course, everyone is looking for marginal gains in downhill, so I think this is really cool. Keep your eyes peeled to see what Gwin turns up at the Worlds with. Next up in news, Crankbrothers have got new versions of their Highline dropper post. Now, it's two models now. There is the 3 and there is the 7. So here's some images on screen. At a glance, neither look any different to the current one really, other than the blacked out seal head on there. But there's a lot of different options. So with the cheaper 3, there's now 6 different drops, so available in 60mm, 80, 100, 125, 150 and 170mm. They're also available in 4 diameters, so that's going to please a lot of our gravel friends because it now comes in a 27.2 in addition to the 30.9, 31.6 and the whopping 34.9. So plenty of options out there for people. So a little bit of a different system to their slightly better version that we've been using for a while now. Actually uses an emulsification cartridge, so basically the gas and the oil are in the same chamber together, mixed up. It does make things cheaper and easier to produce and actually quite easy to service. There's a 2-year warranty on that model as well. And there's also different insertion depths. So to cater for the fact that some people want to size up and still have a like huge dropper post on their bikes, they're offering 174, 264, 215, 240, 265, 285 in millimeters. So that's on the bottom of the collar to the bottom of the actuator. So you are able to fit a different variety of drop posts. You're not limited just by the size of the post overall now for your particular bike sizing. As I said, it's a 2-year warranty on those and they're available from 400 to 586 grams. So not the lightest, but there's a lot of options in there. Now the slightly better 7, which you can see now, again looks very similar, available in 4 drops from 100, 125, 150 and 170, a bit more classic there. 2 diameters, so the 30.9 and the 31.6 with 4 insertion depths, 215, 240, 265 and 285. Now this one has the better cartridge unit on the inside. It has the IFP on there. So the IFP, basically internal floating piston that separates the gas and the oil on the inside. Now if you have any issues with those cartridges, they replace the whole cartridge itself. There's no need for actually servicing it internally. As a result, they offer a 4-year warranty on this post, on the dropper post. 4-year warranty. I think that is fantastic and possibly the best, or certainly one of the better warranties out there. It's got a 2-bolt head on the top there. It's a quick connect as well, so no faffing around having to disengage the entire bolts to take the top of the clamp off. And it weighs from 474 to 583 depending on which option you have. Good stuff there from Crankbrothers. Full face helmets, no question about it, they offer the most protection, but they don't always suit the way you want to ride. Now, over the years, we've seen some different things. We've seen removable jaw guards from helmet makers like Giro with that switchblade helmet, which no doubt is a fantastic concept, but some people want ultimate protection, but they just want more ventilation. So you have been seeing helmets like Fox had the Pro Frame, and there's various others like the Troy Stages that came into the market offering the full face fit but with loads more ventilation, so you can ride them to the top of the hill without baking and you still have that decent protection. Now this IXS looks fantastic. It's got the trigger and it's what they claim the market leader in terms of weight. So it weighs 595 grams for a small medium, which certainly is the lightest small medium on the market. In a medium large, which is probably the more average side, it weighs in at 660. Just so you know, the Troy Stages weighs 690. So although there's only 30 gram difference, it is still a lighter helmet. And especially for people with smaller heads, the lighter option is basically especially light, so well worth looking at. It's got a goggle compatible peak, so you can push the peak out the way and mount your goggles up there. Just a single hand operation, so ideal for the racers out there without having to take the goggles off, hang around your neck, get them fogged up, all that sort of stuff. It's got the Fidlock retention system as well. So Fidlock make magnetic catches for all sorts of different things. They do the water bottle system that we talked about on GMBN Tech before, and also, more importantly, the buckle for your helmet strap. So conventionally you see the quick release buckles, but the magnetic one is actually quite cool. It's very easy for emergency services and anyone else to release. It's very simple to use. It's quite intuitive. I really like it as a system, although it does make me wonder why there's not a universal standard like there is in the motorbike world with the D-Link system. It's something I'm going to look into to see actually what does work best for cyclists. I'm going to ask a few helmet manufacturers, but I do think the Fidlock system looks especially good. There's also called the X-frame system on the inside, so as well as just a conventional structure of the helmet, it's actually got like a wiring system on the inside to keep everything together and give it structure, and essentially that's what's enabled them to lower the weight of it, because you've got this holding the whole helmet together on your head. I think it looks really good as well. I think it's probably the best looking helmet I've seen from IXS in terms of full face stuff. Nice work, guys. Okay, so next up we look at the new Intense Primer. So this is available in 3 different options, 27.5-inch wheels, 29-inch wheels, and a mullet setup. So the 279 option, which is now becoming a bit more of a thing amongst different brands. We've seen it a lot, of course, on e-bikes, but we've seen riders defaulting to that setup on bikes, but not necessarily seen a manufacturer offering all 3 in one model of bike. So the Primer is their aggressive trail bike. It's very light, it's a carbon construction. It uses the JS Tune suspension platform on there. So that's essentially Jeff Stieber's evolution of the VPP link system. So way back in the day when VPP was licensed from Outland, the 2 companies that really used it were Santa Cruz and Intense, and they basically joined forces to help develop the system as far as it could go. And of course, Santa Cruz have gone a slightly different way to Intense on theirs, Intense, ending up with a JS Tune. So it's a bit more of a supple system compared to their older systems, which I guess kind of a bit bipolar in their personality, the way that they would ride on the trail. But that actually is quite a good thing in terms of suspension systems. It gives you what you want when you want to just stand up and pedal, it sit in and not move, and it would open up nicely for the big hits. But the newer systems, they're a bit more easily tuned between sizes of bike and styles of bike. You know, the links are a bit different now. So this particular one has 140mm travel out back, and that's the same on all 3 options, and it's intended to run 150 up front, so good balance. And again, I'm pleased to say slightly less travel. I definitely think less is more. I've been badgering on about this for a long time, that too many riders end up on big 180mm bikes and they just suck them to the ground. They just don't get the most out of them. A lighter bike with good geometry and slightly less travel is going to give you more fun out on the trail. So back to that JS tuned suspension link on here. The whole point really for this bike is to give it enough of a platform that you can really stamp on the pedals and it's not going to bob around and do any of that stuff essentially, but it does retain a nice amount of traction and small bump sensitivity, something that was harder with the original VPP links. They weren't too good on the supple stuff or on the smaller hits. They were excellent at the big hits and they were excellent at resisting the pedaling, but this new system is really refined. So there's 4 sizes across the wheel sizes, from small, extra small to extra large. And reaches do vary on the sizes depending on the higher or the lower options you have them in. So I'm just going to rattle through this because there's a lot of different options here. So in the 275, the reach varies from 406 and 412 high and low on the shorter end to 487 and 493 millimeters. On the 29 is 407 and 413 on the shorter end to 492 and 498, so quite roomy on a nice 29er there. Head angles on them 64.6 and 65.2. 64.5 and 65.1 on the mullet, so very similar actually to the 27.5 there. On the 29 it's a 66 and a 65.3, so pretty much in the ballpark. You're just going to have some slight differences. If you want to have a look at all that stuff, it's all on the Intense website. There's going to be a link to that page directly underneath this very video. The point is that they're not trying to make the bikes too radically different between themselves. They all want to ride the same way, have a ride characteristics you would expect the bike to have. You just pick the wheel size and options that you would want. Now, what I want to know though is, well, firstly, are they the only brand offering a single model in 27.5, 29 and a mullet setup? I think they are. I might be wrong though. I'd love to know if anyone's spotted any other brands out there. There's obviously a lot in the bike world that do this. And what do you think of mullet bikes? Do you think the whole business up front, parts out back thing is a good thing, or should it have been left alone in the 80s like Pat Sharp's haircut? Let us know in the comments underneath. Next up, in fact last one in the news really this week, this is just a bit of bike porn for you. So Commencal have got a strictly limited XX version of their 29er Meta bike out. This is it in front of you now. I think this is absolutely stunning. So this is the XX edition. They're strictly limited. It comes with the full SRAM access system, so insanely good, insanely priced. It comes in that pearl white paint, and look at those oil slick graphics. I think they look really cool. Manages to be subtle, quite classy. The graphics of course match that oil slick cassette and chain that you get with the access setup. There's only 100 being made, but they're only selling 99 because they want to keep one of them at their headquarters in Andorra. As you'd imagine, the geometry is pretty much the same as a regular Meta 29, so a 65.5 degree head angle, and the biggest size, the the large even, is a 491mm reach. So it's pretty large for a size large, nice and roomy. The pricing though, if you're lucky enough and you want one of those to get one, in Europe they're 6,999 euros. In the States it's the same in US dollars. New Zealand dollars is 11,999 Chilean. Wow, there's all the prices. In fact, they're all on the bottom of the screen right there. Didn't realise how many there were. But a pretty nice looking bike there from Commencal. I think at the moment, Commencal, they're definitely doing it for me. I've not really spent any time on one, but they're certainly one of my favourite brands as far as how cool they are go. Let us know, who do you think is the coolest mountain bike brand right now? I'd love to know what you think. Let us know in the comments underneath. Okay, let's jump straight into Bike Cave. Bike Cave, of course, is your version of where I'm sat right now. A workshop, a garage, a shed, whatever it is, and wherever you store your bike and you look after it, tuck it up at night, all that sort of stuff. Take some photos of yours and let us know all about them and yourselves. We'd love to see them. The address is at the bottom of the screen right there. Yeah, get involved. So first up this week is from Dave. It just says location Bike Cave, so not told us where he is. Wise man, I think, but UK, looking at the plug points in there. A huge monster bucket of Wonder Wipes there. They are really, really good, to be fair, to get the stuff off your hands. You can see an MBK Trail Centre guide there as well. Hi Donny, loving the show. I wanted to send you a few pictures of my Bike Cave. Hope you like them. Well, you've got a very organised toolboard on the back there. Probably one of the cleanest and neatest I've seen. Nice little bench grinder down the back as well. I need to buy one of those actually for a little project I'm working on. Never really needed one. I do like the fact you've got a compressor and you've got some rubberised flooring. Old kitchen style units. I'm guessing they're kitchen units. I've done exactly the same because they worked out cheaper than buying official workshop units. And they're built nicely. Like the way you set it up, got a little bin under the counter. I wish I'd thought of that. I just didn't quite have the room. But looking good, little parts trays and stuff in there. Loads of things going on. Looks like you're in the middle of either installing a new fork or giving it a bit of a lower leg surface. Got your muck off, your GT85. Oh, GT85, sort of cologne for bikes, isn't it? Kind of reminds me of Old Spice, really. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But finish line stuff, silicon shine. Wow, did you know that silicon shine stuff by Muck-Off is probably the slipperiest stuff known to man? If you put that on carpet, you'll never be able to stand up on the carpet ever again. It's so slippy. Good fun though. Oh, there's the end of it. Nice little retro Marin down the back as well. It looks like you've built yourself a little manual thing that Blake did in his instructional videos as well. I can't quite see it from the rest of the pictures there, but looking good. Very clean setup, I'm impressed. Okay, next up is from Power in Norway. Now this is a video entry, always excited about these because we don't get enough. In fact, I urge anyone to do a video entry over images if you can, because it just looks cool having a little mini tour. So I'm just looking at your setup here. Concrete floor, you've got some sort of motocross mats on the floor, so either you've ridden motocross bikes before or you've just seen them as a good idea. Lots of wood going in there. I get must be a Scandinavian thing, just lovers of wood. Compressor under the bench. The bench is really nice actually, like the metal edging on it and highly polished. Yeah, cool. Bench grinder on there, angled vise on the corner. Oh, you've got a shoe dryer. That's something I need to add to my bike cave for the winter. You definitely need those here in the UK. All your bike packs and stuff like that. Helmets hanging up at one end, looking good. Very neat, I've got to say. Lovely Yeti hanging up there. If that was in the bike vault, that would get super nice for me right now. Nice trek down the back there. Selection of tyres of different styles there. Looks like you're catered for dry and wet conditions. So I'm guessing up in Norway you ride in various conditions quite a lot. Looking good, very neat, very organised. In fact, that's like alarmingly organised. Makes me feel quite messy about myself. Looking good. Really love the workbench though, and the finish on that. That looks like really good quality. Oh, and lots of different tyres there again. So Maxxis, Bontrager. See some Vittorias tucked away in there as well. Oil funnels, you've got everything. What a great setup, and thank you for videoing it. Love seeing all that stuff in there, especially little modified bikes in there like that Superfly. Is that a Superfly Junior? It looks like one, doesn't it? Yeah, 24-inch wheel, 1x10 on there, looking cool. Thank you for sending that one in. What else have we got? Oh, actually, you sent some images as well to accompany them. So there's that Yeti. God, that looks good, doesn't it? Nice backdrop as well. That's pretty. Foam grips, interesting choice. SB130, the aggressor on the back. What are you running up front? Got a Minion on the front, looking good. There you go, there's that little Trek. That is so cool, little 24. And another one there. Awesome setup, thank you for sending those in. Next up's from Andrew, he's just said home is his location. Sadly not giving us any details. I'd love to know more about it because this looks immaculate. All you said is new house equals new bike cave complete with trophy heads. Speaking of which, those trophy heads are really cool. I love a bit of bike art. So first one's like an orange saddle with a set of wide bars, kind of looking like a set of antlers, I guess. You've done the same with a set of drop bars in the middle. That's super cool. We're definitely going to rob that for the new set when we finally move into our new building. But your workshop looks fantastic. That is a purpose-built, that's workshop spec. There's no kitchen units there. You've gone for the whole hog. Man, that must have cost a fortune to do that. Nice little park stand. You've got your bikes lent up at the back there. Minimal and super tidy. Very envious of that. That looks really, really nice. Love to have that amount of space you've got. The full-length wardrobes in there, the workbench, the compressor, the roll cab. I love the fact you got that on wheels, assuming you've left it like that so you can pull it out and work on top of that as well. It looks fantastic. Lighting looks great. And I love the wall art. Very nice. Okay, next one up is from Wayne. Shed revamp completed by me and my 9-year-old son. Loving the channel. Big shout out from the Northwest Riders, I guess. Love the fact you've actually taken the time here to fit a couple of little armchairs in this. You can just sit back and look at those bikes. I guess everyone does that at some point. No access for unauthorised personnel. Good. That's exactly what a bike cave should be. Looks cool. Crammed in a lot of stuff in there. Looks a lot better than it used to, that's for sure. Look at the before and after pictures. Still got room for a bike down the back. You've got your workbench, all the stuff on there. Looking trim. Nice stuff, Wayne. Thank you, everyone, for sending your bike caves in. Keep them coming in. Upload a link one more time at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, now it's time for Rewind. We all know the score here. This is where we talk about old retro mountain bike stuff. Now, if you've got anything old, it could be some shots of you racing back in the 80s or the 90s, or it could be a really cool old bike or component. Take some photos or send those photos in to us. Use our uploader links on the bottom of the screen there. Alternatively, if there's some stuff that you've wondered where it's come from in today's tech, there's always where it originated from. We'd love to tell those stories to you, or vice versa. If you've maybe found something that's old and dreadful and you want to see where that's progressed to, ask away. You can do that in the comments underneath if you use hashtag rewind. More than happy to do a bit of research, or more than likely delve into my vault of weird stuff I just seem to know and tell you. Okay, so this week, first up is from Darren. So this is the white PRST1. This was a hell of a bike. Just look at this thing. So this is a bizarre looking bike with a sort of a trailing link sort of system on the front there, linkage front end that had almost no stiction to design of it. I mean, if you could look past the design, I mean, really, that's like, it's got a face only a mother could love. It's disgusting, isn't it? But it's also amazing what the bike stood for. They weren't the first people to do a bike like this. I think Muddy Fox were actually the first with the Muddy Fox Interactive, but Muddy Fox is different in the fact it had a single shock as opposed to the double shock setup on the PRST1 here. And the fact was that when you hit a bump with the first wheel, the rear wheel would know exactly how to deal with that because they were connected. Of course, it was never taken forward, and White actually pushed on with this design. But really cool to see that you've made this fully rideable again, because it is an incredible piece of tech, really. If only they made it look a little easier to the eye. Although I do hear that people do really like these. I'd love to know if you, without offending you, Darren, what you think of the bike personally. Do you love it, or do you just find it's a bit ugly, but you like what it actually does? So you've got disc brake mount on the back there, looking good. Pretty cool bell actually by all accounts on the bars on the left there. So nice Yeti lock-on grips. KS dropper post, STG Bel Air saddle. Super comfortable those are. Great for big days in the hills. Tech 4 brakes, or are they Tech 3s? I can't see, from Hope. Some of the best looking brakes on earth, I think. Really, really nice. It's good to see that you've basically given the whole bike a new lease of life. It's quite an old bike now, and they certainly don't make them like that anymore. But there you go, there's the White with that bike with almost zero stiction in it. So incredibly supple and using 2 shocks instead of a shock and a pair of forks. Okay, next up is from Theo in Athens. This is cool. What is this weird aluminium part located close to the bottom bracket? Is it a chain guide? Ah, Theo, my friend, this is what's known as an anti-chain suck plate. Back in the day when bikes were really poorly designed, you used to suffer from a feature or a phenomenon known as chain suck, where the chain would basically stay on the chainring as you're pedaling and would get sucked up between the chain rings and the chainstay, and it would jam in there, sometimes causing really bad damage to your frame, sometimes bending chain rings, sometimes snapping the chain. And that little plate, basically you would run it true right up against those chainring tabs, so if the chain did stick, it would simply just knock it back off the chainring tooth that it's hooked onto. Really, really simple, but it used to, as you'd imagine, collect basically loads of mud and crap down by the bottom bracket there. Now you might see chain suck here and there these days, but it tends to happen for other reasons really. You get a similar thing happen sometimes if the lower part of the chain catches on a tyre and the tyre can sort of suck it around, but you don't really tend to see it happening from chainring teeth thanks to the thick, thin or the narrow, wide style profiles that we have today. But yeah, quite cool to still see that. Now the last one this week, this one is amazing. I can't believe this has been sent in. So this is from Danny. It's a Nukeproof reactor. So this was a bike that I became aware of a few years ago when Rob over at Nukeproof told me about the very original Nukeproof reactor hardtail bike with that leading link fork that has the shock house in the head tube. Now he said that there are only around 4 around that basically that he knew of that people still had in those conditions. And they managed to buy the one off a collector basically so they could have that in the Nukeproof headquarters. Now this one has just come out of the work, so I built this up from scratch basically, but just look at the thing. So it's got those reactor hubs on there, and it's the complete bike, the original stem, the original fork, the original frame. It looks like the original rims as well, just to match in with that. You just don't see these bikes. This is so rare, so it's really weird for me to see 2 of these in the space of a year when I've not seen one in my entire life. What a bizarre looking bike. And there you go, you can see the shock absorber in the head tube there. And look at the linkages on that thing. Talk about Nukeproof, it's like absolutely over engineered. Man, it's just an incredible piece of kit. Really, really nice to see that. Yeah, so Velocity rims, all new old stock. So you've built those hubs up on the rims to match the original spec of the bike. Of course the tyres wouldn't have been original spec, and it looks like your crankset on there, the XT is a bit later, but original post, original frame, now original wheels, original stem, and the original fork. Super cool and really, really rare. Thank you very much, guys, for sending those awesome rewind entries in. Okay, now it's time for top mods. This is all about the modifications that you guys make to your bikes to make them a little bit different to the ones you could buy in the shops, and more importantly, a bit different to your mate's bikes. It's all about making your bike the best one. Could just be changing some handlebar grips, or it could be a complete service and a paint job. Whatever it is you do to your bike, it always counts with us. So send them in. The link is at the bottom of the screen there. Tell us about yourself, where you're from. Use that uploader service. It's really, really simple to use. And more importantly, take some cool pictures of all the stuff you've done to your bikes. Now this first one is an absolute banger. So this is from Mark in Utah. It's a 2019 Specialized Stump Jumper. So a brand new bike, bearing in mind, that doesn't really need anything doing to it because it's a pretty sick bike anyway. I went a bit crazy with my Cry-Cut vinyl cutter, before and after pictures included. I designed to cut these all myself. I even cut out clear 3M to protect a load of it as well. So it effectively looks like you're giving a bike like a custom paint job, but it's all done with decals. I think it looks phenomenal. At a glance, it's hard to tell in images. You would not know that that is not a paint job. That's ridiculous. And then the fact you've done the fender to match there with the down tube graphics, I think that looks so cool. And of course, the benefit of doing this, in fact, is kind of like a heli tape kit for your bike, so it's actually going to protect your down tube and protect your paintwork. On a bike like that, with that finish as well, you want to look after that. Loving all the detailing, by the way, with all the orange, like the orange pedals, the orange grips, the Uri grips, looks like them to me. Yeah, orange decals on the rims, and of course, the custom orange and turquoise stuff that you've done on there. That looks amazing. A lot of effort to go to there, Mark. Thank you for sending those in, really appreciate that. Next up is from Jude in France. I finished my upgrades on my bike. I've added Renthal 35 bars, Hope purple stem, ODI Ruffian grips and some pedals. And I've also added new fork graphics to my RockShox sectors. Well, loving those fork graphics, and I can see where you were going with that. So matching in with the pedals and with that purple stem. Love a bit of purple. Something about anodised purple, it's a weird colour, but it just looks right on bike stuff. Especially on your bike, it looks really cool actually, with your bike being almost all black. I love the fact that you've got your little name decal on there, just like the pros do as well. Very nice. Okay, next up is from Graham in Glasgow. Second time posting. I wanted to share why I didn't get my son on the trails with reasonableness, kit and comfort. I pulled apart a 24-inch Carrera and replaced the brakes, forks, drive, basically everything, and painted it and turned it into a cool kids bike. So look at this. So this is a little 24-inch Carrera kids bike, souped up to the max. It looks rad. That's well cool. Look at that. So here's your before picture, just off the shelf, looking all right actually, to be fair, and now looking at it, that looks sick. Battleship grey Magura brakes on there. Even the linkage is like sprayed or anodised differently. That looks fantastic. Much better shock on there, air shock, so infinitely adjustable, better fork. Man, that's a really, really cool looking little kid's bike. I wish I could have had a bike like that when I was riding 24s when I was a kid. The bike I had when I would have been that age and size was made from high tensile steel by Peugeot. Also had steel bars, steel stems, steel seat posts, steel rims, steel hubs, steel everything basically. And I'm pretty sure I couldn't even lift it off the ground at that age. So to see a bike like this geared up for kids is just fantastic. Honestly, the kids don't realise how good they have it these days. I think it's incredible. Amazing work, Graham. Thanks for sending those shots in. Absolutely love all this stuff. Keep those top mods up. Okay, now it's time for Tech of the Week, and there's a few new park tools I just want to talk to you about. First up, they've got a proper set of pliers. Might not sound much to you guys, but they've always been known for having like needle nose pliers and cutters and various other stuff. They've not had just a standard set of pliers. So it's always nice to just tie in with the rest of the toolkit. That's just a personal like for myself. But the one that's really handy is the ZP5. So these are flush cut pliers. So this is what you want for trimming down cable ties, getting them super neat and tidy. They're incredibly sharp, really, really simple to use. They've got the nice Park Tool blue collars on them. They're just great and just a nice addition to the toolkit. On the more useful front though is their new chainwear tool. So this is the CC4. As you might know, it's quite a lot longer than their previous one. It's actually got 3 sort of settings available to it, so you can really tell the wear on a chain. Anything up to 12-speed chain now. So there's 3 different sort of measurements: 0 to 0.49%, 0.50 to 0.74, and then 0.75 plus. So you can be completely assured of where you are in your chain life. And if you're the sort of guy that wants to replace your chain more often to get more use out of the cassette, this is the sort of thing you probably want to have in your toolkit. Nice and simple and cheap as well. Well, there we go. There's another weekly GMBN Tech show in the bag. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Let us know, like I said at the beginning, I want to know about those mullet bikes and all that sort of stuff. Get involved in the comments, join the conversation. For a couple more videos, I'm going to throw you to the Tom Wheeler documentary, which is up here. That's a 25-minute full-on documentary, so grab a cup of tea or your favourite drink for that one and be amazed at what he has accomplished. And click down here for Henry's video on real-time shock servicing. You can follow along with that, so if you look at all the tools you need at the beginning of the video, you can actually follow that process yourself at home. It's really, really simple. He does a great job of breaking it down. More importantly, let us know in the comments of that video what other things you'd like to see in real time. Of course, bear in mind, we're not going to make like a 4-hour video here on YouTube, but we're going to do a fork one and maybe a break bleed one and anything else that's suitable. We'll do it in real time. I think it's a great concept. There we go. Hopefully you like the show. Give us a thumbs up if you do, and can you click, share and subscribe, and also click that little bell for the notifications for every time we have a new video launched. You will find out first on the notifications on your device. Cheers guys.